Hi, Erin Koss here, CEO from Site Consulting Group. I want to talk today a little bit about companies and specifically family-owned manufacturing companies that might be on their second round of ERP selection and implementation. Something that we see really often is you've been there before, you've done it before, and people tend to think that it's going to be the same experience the second time around. And we want to just caution our family-owned manufacturing clients that that may not always be the case. That saying, sort of what got you here may not get you there, is really true in this case. So let me paint the picture for you, right? 15, or let's say 5, 10, or even 15 years ago, you were implementing your first ERP solution. Might have been a Mass 90, a Great Plains, a Solomon, maybe even a Microsoft NAV or Navision at that time, something smaller, right? And you were able to do that with 1 or 2 people. Remember, your company at that time was a lot smaller, a lot less complex, and probably wasn't growing at the rate that it is now, which is prompting this next round. And oftentimes what we see is companies trying to go about it the same way they did before, with those same 1, maybe 2 or 3 people. And they realize that the effort is far bigger than they expected. And unfortunately, they get a year or 2 years sometimes into the process and realize they're maybe in over their heads. And so the thing I want to talk to you about today is how to avoid that from the very beginning, and maybe even share with you some resources that we use that our clients have really appreciated to help them have the conversation about resources and capacity planning as early as possible. So when we're asked to the party, so to speak, we usually start out with what we call a measurement, an assessment, prior to even doing the evaluation selection and ultimately the implementation. During that time, we're working with our clients to help assess what kind of capabilities and capacity do they have at their fingertips within their organization today. Now, we know that family-owned businesses are lean and mean, right? They are doing a lot with as few people as they need because that's the way it works, right? And those people have been there a long time and they're highly valued and they are busy in their day jobs. And so to ask them to spend time on a special project, much less a large project like an ERP implementation, can be really tough to do. It can be a big ask. And so what we want to do is have those conversations early, but also start to wanted to share with you today some ways to think about when you might make sure you have to have those resources that are your internal resources, when outside or outsourcing certain roles might be better, and when you might consider backfilling those resources as well, the ones that maybe you take out of your own organization. Are you going to just lend them to the project, or are you going to entirely backfill them? So I guess the thing I want to talk about today is the recognition that the folks that are going to be needed on the project, those folks from your internal resources, who they are and what their skills need to be. And we find some of the most important things for those folks includes, a really good understanding of your business, of your culture even, certainly of their key function in the business that they support. I think those are the 3 things that are most important. The challenge, of course, is those are also some of your most valuable folks. And so asking them to be available a bunch of time, 50% of their time or better for basically a year to do an ERP implementation is, and maybe longer, is very difficult. So we encourage our family-owned businesses to really look at those folks hard, because those are roles that are critical subject matter experts that really to bring in an outside consulting firm to help you backfill those or play those roles on a project team is really not ideal for your company during or even after, right? It just delays the fact that you maybe just need a few more people or need to find a way to maybe backfill them temporarily and free them up for the project. Playing those roles, having outsiders play those roles, is usually not the best play. That said, there's some key roles like project management, some business analysts or technical analysts that can be really helpful to getting from the outside because those folks are built to do just this. These projects, they have the ERP experience, they have the broad business background, and they can partner with you to help make sure and keep the solution providers on the straight and narrow, right? The solution providers are there to really focus on the solution, which is great. You need them, you want them, we love them. And they get a little in a vacuum in their thinking sometimes because they are focused on helping you set up, configure, and implement that solution. Sometimes the culture aspects, the broad business aspects, the strategic aspects of the business are less of their focus and really just not always in their bailiwick as well. A firm like ours, as an example, is going to be equipped to be the glue between the two pieces, the expertise that you bring to the table and that the solution provider brings to the table. So let me fast forward to the tool that I want to share with you today, which is this tool on capacity planning. You'll see that we have a presentation here. I'm going to share this in this particular post, and I hope it's valuable to you. I'm not going to run through all the slides here today, but suffice to say, it's probably worth a look, as well as sharing with your leadership team and using it as a conversation starter for planning for your own staffing of an ERP implementation. Let me say again, the challenge, the way you did this the first time just is not going to necessarily help you at this place. If you're that much bigger and more complex than you were the first time, it's going to take a village, so to speak. So with that, I want to point out this one particular slide here, and this is slide 4. This is a really helpful tool, at least our clients have told us this, that goes through and explains the different roles, capabilities, and capacity, right? What roles, capabilities, describes them all, so helps you have a conversation about who do you need, how much are you going to need them on an ERP project, and then should they be internal or could they be external? And it'll give you some food for thought. The following slides are also sort of helpful, I think, and you've got this here that gives you a picture of maybe internal and external, a little different view. But then lastly, there is a table that you can make your own. And so you take this table and you start to really plug in the people, the who on your team would play these different roles, and do they have the capacity? And so you start to build a map of where are your gaps in capacity. So with that said, I encourage you to consider using this as a tool to have a great conversation with your leadership team about the realities of, hey guys, I know we did this way before. It's probably not going to be looking like that's possible this time. Here's why. Heck, show them our video from today, right? And here's a tool to help you do some planning. One other tool that we'll include in today's video is one that we call our ERP Readiness Assessment. So this particular PowerPoint focused exclusively on resource planning. The other deck will also, the ERP Readiness Assessment focuses on the process preparation that is really important as well, and also the people side of things, the technology side of things. So it'll cover people, process, and technology. And could be just another additional resource for you that might be helpful in the process. So with that, I wish you all the best in doing your planning for your next round of ERP. And if you need help in making some of those decisions and having some of those conversations and doing that planning, please don't hesitate to reach out and give me a call. I'd love to chat with you about it. Take care.